Hello and welcome to the Redefining High Performance Podcast. My name is Ty Bennett. I'm excited to be here with you again this week. Thank you for listening. If you're new, welcome. If you've listened before, welcome back. Every week I bring you a short, quick episode mixed in with some longer form interviews. But in these quick episodes, I try and break down a specific aspect of high performance. You see, we did a national research study on high performance, looking at high performance in working America. What does it look like today? What are the drivers? What are the barriers? What holds us back? And what separates good from great? What are the things that you need to know? This is not just fluff. These aren't my ideas. This is actual documented research data. And what I try and do in these quick episodes is unpack a specific aspect of that data so that you can have a practical takeaway, so that you can have actionable things that you can use in your week. As you go throughout your week this week, I think today's going to be no different. I'm going to give you some really specific strategies that are going to help you to perform at a higher level. Now, last week, if you listened, I talked about a specific aspect of adaptability. In our research, we found that adaptability is the most crucial skill for you to be successful in today's world. That only makes sense because we live in a world that is constantly changing. And so adaptability isn't just about surviving change, it's about thriving in change. You see, adaptability is not just a reaction, it's a capability. It's a skill. And I want to help you develop it. And the key to developing it is learning. It's learning. It's being able to continually grow and expand, because when growth becomes something that we design, right? I think high performers, they design environments that make growth inevitable. They make themselves more relevant. So for just a second, think about what are you doing in your day-to-day life that is making growth part of your life? As an overarching idea, I like to share with people that they should have a to-learn list. You couple this with a to-do list, which most people have, right? Actions that they need to accomplish, things that they want to check off their list. But a to-learn list are areas where you want to explore and improve and learn and grow. In last week's episode, we dove into a particular aspect of the to-learn list, and that is the unlearn category. Because it's not just linear growth. Sometimes we have to unlearn, step back, and reframe and change things. So as we talk about this today, what I want to do is I want to share with you 5 specific strategies to help you to learn and grow and develop this capability of adaptability. So the first of these is, number 1, you learn faster by teaching. By teaching. Harvard researchers call this the protege effect. When you learn something with the expectation that you'll teach it, then retention and understanding actually doubles. The research show that you double the retention because teaching requires clarity. It exposes what you've truly mastered and not just what you've only memorized. Do you remember being in school? There are plenty of subjects that you would just memorize a list, and on Friday you had the test and you'd be able to recite that list, and then it was gone from your memory. You don't remember any of it, or at least I don't. Mastery is different. And so here's the action that I want you to start to take. To start to implement the protege effect is, after you learn something new, explain it to a colleague or a friend, or even out loud to yourself, because teaching turns information into transformation. So the first strategy is the protege effect. Number 2 is to use deliberate practice. You see, not all effort actually equals improvement. There's a psychologist named Anders Ericsson that proved that growth happens when practice is focused and feedback driven, not just repetitive. Because sometimes we can practice the wrong thing over and over again. We're building muscle memory for something that's not going to serve us. Mindless reps make habits, but deliberate reps make progress. So here's the action step, is I want you to break skills into smaller parts, target your weaknesses, seek feedback every single time, because without feedback, growth flatlines. That feedback may be to record yourself. That feedback may be to ask somebody else their thoughts. That feedback may be to assess, video of something you're trying to perform, whatever it is. But if you take deliberate action, it's going to increase improvement. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3 is I want you to protect deep work blocks. Deep work blocks. Have you heard this term before? Cal Newport's research is very clear. 90 minutes of uninterrupted focus beats a full day of multitasking. Yeah, the research has actually proven that multitasking is not effective. Now, we're all guilty of this. I know I am. And I think we used to wear it as a badge of honor, right? But no more. We've got to let that go because deep work creates breakthroughs. It pushes abilities into the zone where learning speeds up and potential expands. So how do you create deep work blocks in your day? Here's the action step. I want you to schedule 2 or 3 distraction-free blocks each week. That means distraction-free, phone away, no computer, focused, remove all distractions, turn off notifications, and protect the space where mastery can actually happen. Okay, so number 3 is protect deep work blocks. Number 4 is to build a personal board of advisors. Have you ever done this? Do you have advisors, mentors in your life? I hope so, because a Harvard case study showed that top performers surround themselves with 5 to 7 diverse mentors who challenge assumptions and expand thinking. They accelerate your growth curve by providing direction, perspective, and accountability. Do you have mentors in your life? Are they advising you, giving you feedback? So if you don't, here's the action. Identify people in different fields and schedule regular check-ins with them. Curate the voices that are going to make you better. Now, that might take a little bit of courage to step outside of yourself and reach out to some of these people and say, hey, would you be willing to do this? Would you be willing to help me? I'd love your feedback. I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to get better. I really respect your opinion, right? Stroke their ego maybe a little bit, but build a board of advisors so that it can make you better. Number 5, the 5th tool that I want you to use or strategy is to implement creative constraints. So there's another muscle that fuels adaptability, and that's creative constraints. Most of the time when we think about constraints, they feel like obstacles, right? We have tight budgets, not enough time, limited resources, fewer people. They can feel like barriers to doing our very best work. But in reality, constraints are often the birthplace of creativity. They force us to look at problems differently, to innovate in ways we wouldn't have found a path if it was wide open. Let me give you a couple of thoughts or history ideas of where this plays out. Like the Apollo 13 mission is a really good example because when an oxygen tank exploded in space, NASA engineers had to find a way to fit a square air filter into a round hole using only the materials they already had in the spacecraft. Failure meant death. So they had to figure it out, right? That's a constraint. Within hours, they improvised a fix, and that moment of constraint-driven problem solving actually saved lives. We see this play out in startups versus bigger corporations because big companies often have endless resources, but that abundance can actually kill creativity. Startups, on the other hand, they're fueled by scarcity, right? You have to make it work. They don't have the luxury of waste, so they have to think differently. It's a constraint that creates innovation. We see this in a lot of different places like art and music. There's lots of examples that we could go into, but some of the most famous art movements began with constraints. Haiku poetry thrives because of its strict syllable count, right? Think about it. You're constrained with a certain amount of syllables, words that you can use. Jazz was born out of improvisation. Sorry, I can't speak today. Improvisation because musicians didn't have access to traditional instruments or sheet music, and so the limitation sparked new forms of expression. So here's what I want you to think about is let's reframe constraints as opportunities. Instead of asking, why can't I, ask, how could I within these limits? And impose your own creative constraints. Challenge yourself by shrinking the timeline. Instead of saying, okay, I've got a week to do this, what if I only had an hour? Right? What if I had to get this done? What would I do? Lowering the budget maybe, right? Instead of $1 million to get the project done, what if I had $50? I don't know. Or limiting the tools that you have access to. You'll find the innovation, it results because of the constraints that you put on yourself. And then experiment with boundaries. Try brainstorming ideas under a rule like, what if we had $0 to do this? Or what if we only had one day to make this happen, right? If you can apply those creative constraints, you then can fuel adaptability. So let's recap for just a minute. 5 specific strategies to increase your learning and help you to grow faster. Number 1 is the protege effect. Learn faster by teaching. Number 2 is to use deliberate practice, not just repetitive, but deliberate practice. Number 3 is to protect deep work blocks. Number 4 is to build a personal board of advisors. And number 5 is to put in place creative constraints. Adaptability is crucial for your success. It allows you to not just become relevant, but stay relevant in a world that's constantly changing. And so I hope that these 5 strategies are helpful to you. I'd love your feedback. Connect with me on social media, share this with other people. If you haven't yet done so, subscribe, rate, review this podcast. I appreciate it. And I will be back again next week.